2004 was a landmark year for the whole video game industry, especially for first-person shooters. You had a plethora of styles: tight, claustrophobic corridors and jump scares in Doom 3, or the eerie dystopia of Half-Life 2 and infamous locations like Ravenholm. Most shooters at that time followed a similar formula, but one game really stood out, at least on the surface. That was the original Far Cry. It dropped players onto a lush tropical island in the middle of the Pacific, surrounded by deep blue water, dense jungles and chirping birds. It was a completely different vibe. For years, I honestly thought Far Cry 1 was the best in the series. I know that sounds ridiculous, especially considering we later got Far Cry 3 with Was, or even Far Cry 5, but still, something about that game stuck with me. And to tell the truth, even 20 years later, Far Cry 1 still holds up visually. It was a testing ground for Crytek's cutting-edge engine, which would later evolve into the tech behind Crysis. Originally, it was just meant to be a demo, but it looked so good that the team decided to make it a full game, and it paid off. Funny enough, Counter-Strike Condition Zero came out the same year, yet it looks like something from a completely different era. So, I decided to replay Far Cry in 2025, to see if it still holds up and how far the series has come since then. The game kicks off with a trippy intro cutscene that for some reason just spoils the entire plot. It shows off mutants called Trojans in this game and even the final boss level on a volcano. We meet our protagonist, Jack Carver, cruising alone in his yacht with a woman who suddenly jets off to somewhere in the sea moments before a rocket slams into the boat. Jack survives and gets help from a scientist named Harlan Doyle, who guides us through the island's many dangers.
How do I know I can trust you?
Well, for starters, how about the fact that I haven't turned you in? That radio has a bioreader. Since I know you're there, I could have ratted you out already.
Good point. Keep talking.
From the get-go, the game just tries to evoke a spy thriller vibe, or more like a bad spy thriller, honestly. The game voice acting is nowhere near the quality of the visuals, and Jack Carver's one-liners don't help with that.
What is this? A bad spy movie? You two are gonna get us all killed!
Overall, the characters are pretty flat. Jack is your typical action hero type, cocky, sarcastic, and lacking real depth beyond being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The supporting characters do not add much either. We start off with a desert eagle crawling through sewers trying to figure out why someone blew up our boat. From the start, you can see why Far Cry felt revolutionary in 2004. Even today, the gameplay feels solid compared to many modern shooters. It was one of the first titles to feature a semi-open world where you could actually choose your own path, unlike Doom 3, which kept you locked in tight hallways. Though, to be fair, horror elements do creep in later on.
Get your ass back here, boy!
But that open world, however, had its downsides. Compared to later Far Cry games, the island feels a bit empty, with not much to explore beyond enemy patrols. Most levels give you a few different paths, cool at the time, but less impressive now. Still, the freedom was refreshing. Even better, the game lets you use vehicles, jeeps with mounted guns, boats and even gliders, which added excitement to exploration. Sometimes when the game felt too dragged on and boring, it was a relief to just go through to the next checkpoint using vehicles. You could also try playing it using stealth, but let's be real, stealth barely works in most old games, to be honest. The AI was too smart to handle, and enemies could actually see through tents and even shoot through walls like they were running wall hacks.
What are you aiming at? What are you aiming at?
But later actually I found out that that's a bug in the modern version and there is a patch to fix it, but even then, the enemy accuracy and range were no joke. The game is genuinely hard. Even on normal difficulty, some missions feel nearly impossible without constant restarts and replays. And while a few outdoor sections let you bypass fights, about half the game is spent indoors, in factories and labs, where you're forced to push forward and you just cannot use stealth. Also, there is no separate stealth takedown system or hiding, You'll get spotted and eventually you just accept it and go full run and gun. I gotta say though, the first 5 levels feel fresh and engaging, with non-linear layouts, exploration and a steady stream of new weapons and enemies. But things take a sharp turn around level 5, when the Trigens show up.
Hello there.
These mutated creatures were once lab-tested monkeys, now being turned into super soldiers by this shady Krieger corporation. And that's when all hell breaks loose. After we blow up a communication center, chaos erupts, and actually, the game gave us some clues before, uneasy dialogues from the soldiers suggesting they weren't on board with the experiments, and now we know why. For the rest of the game, we see mercenaries and mutants fighting each other, which sometimes lets you sneak past while they kill one another. Less work for you and fewer bullets wasted. The story pushes you toward a scientist who supposedly has a key card to the bunker holding Valeria, the girl that started with you on that yacht, but of course that scientist is dead, thanks Trigens.
Look how they massacred my boy.
We then make it to the bunker, and this is where Far Cry leans into horror. The contrast between sunny jungles and cold, dark concrete holes creates a sudden shift in the atmosphere. It feels really tense, at least in the beginning, though you get a ridiculously overpowered shotgun here, which takes the edge off. The gunplay in Far Cry feels really good. You can feel the recoil, and the game has a nice balance between difficulty of shooting and satisfaction from every shot you fire. Although the choice of weapons isn't that great, I would say it was enough for the entire game, and you never really feel tired of using them. Eventually, you team up with Valeria and try to escape in a helicopter, triggering one of the weirdest cutscenes in that game.
The pilot's dead. Jump!
Who's that? Naturally, Valeria disappears again, and we're back on our own. New additions include night vision goggles and nighttime missions. We infiltrate another industrial maze, now dodging jets of steam, and at the end there is a cutscene showing a massive prison break. The mutants are loose, including some new armed with rifles. We were supposed to meet Valeria again, but plans fall through, so Jack decides to hike to the archive solo. That's another place where we need to sneak into. And first we escape the factory, where the game introduces huge rocket launcher wielding mutants, absolute nightmares in tight corridors, and this is actually part of the game that's really annoying because, well, there's just not much space to maneuver around those rockets. But thankfully there aren't many of them yet, and sometimes soldiers help you out indirectly.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
The next level is one of the best in the entire game. If you were starting to feel burnout from all that corridor combat, you are now dropped back into a semi-open war zone. Mutants are clashing with mercs everywhere, and you can either sneak around, run them over, or even fly through on a glider. The whole level feels like a real chaos, and it's genuinely thrilling. It's actually also hard. You are constantly under fire from multiple factions, but it's also fun. I think this variety is what made Far Cry feel really great. Just when things started to feel stale, the game threw something new at you. Toward the end, those surprises become less frequent, but it's clear that devs just wanted to keep players engaged and on their toes all the time. In the next, more linear level, we face elite soldiers, the game's toughest human enemies. Around this point, the level design also starts to dip. Even the devs admitted they rushed the final stages, but still, there are a few standout moments.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
After some heavy combat, we finally reunite with Valeria. Doyle, the scientist who has been guiding us, reveals that there is a signal jamming tower on the island, which is why the CIA can't reach us. We have to destroy it, and that means blowing up 4 transmitters scattered around the map. It's a return to the open world formula once again, with plenty of approaches to choose from. Eventually we board a destroyed ship which is holding another tower, leading to a boss fight with Grove, the merc leader. It's a tough one, and that's a classic helicopter boss fight, but also the ship is sinking, so you're on a timer, which makes it extra difficult. Doyle arrives and then gives us one more mission: find a PDA from his colleague, and then there are 3 new levels with new jungle and labyrinth environments that look really great. At the end of the river level, we finally kill Grove and get another silly cutscene. Then, for some reason, there comes the most frustrating part of this game, the turret section. Valeria drives a Hummer and you're stuck on the mounted gun. I don't know who thought that that's gonna be a fucking great idea, but I had to reload this mission dozens of times until I just memorized every spawn point and attack pattern of all the enemies, because shooting on the move is hard, and Valeria's driving is, well, it's not great. You take tons of damage, but thankfully it's a short section, but that's really tiresome one with so many restarts and so many deaths from me. The next goal, find a mini nuke and blow up the lab. It's exactly as dangerous as it sounds, and the characters even joke about how stupid the plan is.
You're going to sneak into the camp and clear away from me. Once inside, I should be able to hack their security grid so we can infiltrate the main camp and grab the nuke.
Whoa, I'm not touching a nuke. Not even a little tiny one.
Nobody's asking you to, tough guy. I'm qualified to arm it. All you have to do is get me in there.
You're full of surprises, lady.
Well, you know, the plot wasn't great by that time, you should have understood that. And by now I was feeling also burned out, but luckily these missions are short, but the game started to feel less exciting than a couple of hours before. Jack and Valeria then inject an antidote.
What?
I don't like shots.
I'm sure you'll make a lovely mutant.
Inject the serum into your neck.
I've had worse. Let's move.
And trigger the explosion, but Krieger's goons capture them anyway. Level 19 is iconic though. The main villain, with his over-the-top Austrian accent, literally tosses you out of a helicopter.
Jack, take a look into the future. Nature has failed mankind. Mere humans like you are about to be obsolete. I've only taken a few thousand years of evolution and put it into a test tube. Survival of the fittest. Good luck.
Thanks.
You wake up in the jungle with 10 bullets and have to survive. Classic old-school FPS move. Strip away all your gear and make you earn it back.
Get to the chopper!
After fighting through waves of enemies, you reach the final location, a base inside a volcano. Level 20, the finale, delivers some epic moments. You fight Krieger, now mutated. It's not a hard fight, especially if you just shoot him in the balls, because for some reason it does more damage. After that, a cutscene reveals that Doyle has betrayed you. He wants to sell the mutagen and let you and Valeria mutate into some horrible creatures.
Why didn't you just kill Krieger yourself?
The Trigens are fiercely loyal, and you just killed their father. I'd love to see how they take the news, but I've got a super mutagen to sell.
Doyle, unless you give us the antidote, you're not leaving this island alive. Now, I know you won't believe me until I've got a gun pointed at your head, but it's true.
Sorry, Jack, I'm gonna need it. Forgive me if I don't shake your hand.
I'm coming for you, buddy.
Conveniently for us, Doyle also lives nearby in his cozy volcano lair. You push through a few more enemies and confront him. He's only armed with a pistol, so the final fight is very straightforward.
No, please, you don't understand. They sent me. They're always watching. You can't change this. You can't change the future.
Probably not, but I can make sure you're not a part of it. Stupid bastard.
And with that, the game is over. When I first started writing this review, I thought I would say that the game aged like wine. Honestly, it aged more like milk. Don't get me wrong though, it's still a solid shooter with fun gunplay, memorable locations and exciting gameplay overall. The plot of course is pure 90s cheesy movie action style, and the pacing is very uneven, dragging in parts, then rushing and fumbling the ending for some reason. It felt really weird to end the game on that note. But it was good enough to kick off one of the gaming's most iconic franchises, and that's the only Far Cry made by Crytek, not Ubisoft, which is why it feels so different. You can see the early DNA of Crysis here actually. Oh, and there was also a movie based on this game. It wasn't completely terrible, but I wouldn't exactly recommend it either. So what's the final verdict? I think Far Cry 1 is still worth revisiting. It's aged in some ways, sure, it's, clunkier, less scary than it seemed 2004, and the story is just a silly joke, but the gameplay holds up. Just make sure to install the patch or the difficulty will be brutal. That's it for me. Thanks for watching. What game should I review next?